thanks for joining us once again. It's myself, Jamie, and I've got Lucy again with me here for the next episode of the LAMH podcast. And we're into May, the sun's shining, the good vibes are here today, Lucy. What are you thinking?
The good vibes are back, Jamie. Thanks for saying. I know it's so nice to have a bit of sun in it. It seems like it's supposed to last for a while.
Hopefully so. I do keep saying to people, I remember last year, specifically the month of June, I remember there was 2 days specifically that I felt warm. It was the 1st of June and the 30th of June.
Oh, so you remember the actual dates as well?
That's how, yeah, not very sunny it was last year. So I'm hoping that's the record to beat. So if I feel warm for more than 2 days in the month of June, then I'd class that as a successful summer.
An official Scottish summer.
Official Scottish summer. So yeah, so just a wee reminder that episodes 1 to 5 are still available on Spotify. We do have a YouTube channel as well. My colleague Chris is asking me to plug, so consider it plugged. And yeah, if you'd like to listen back or even listen to it for the first time, to myself and my team discussing some of the important topics relating to mental health, those sources are out there. And we are going global, in fact. I did notice with the analytics when we were uploading the last episode that we have reached an audience in the United Arab Emirates. So thank you, and if you're listening, I hope you're enjoying the content.
The world tour coming soon.
World tour, hopefully, yeah. Try and get some sponsors and get out there. And it's what the people want. So yeah, that's pretty amazing, isn't it?
That's quite exciting to see like where across the world we're actually being streamed.
I know, and I know obviously some of the content and the guests we've got on are maybe kind of specifically regarding Lanarkshire, but I think, you know, the topics and the things we're talking about, it is still mental health. It's things that everybody is working through in themselves. So hopefully, you know, people are able to take something from it, from wherever in the world you're listening from. So thank you. Hopefully we'll keep able to grow that base even further. So for this episode 6, the theme is going to be community. Now, why, you might ask? Well, at the time of this recording, we are approaching Mental Health Awareness Week, which spans from Monday the 12th of May until the 18th of May. And it's this designated theme for 2025 is community. So looking to emphasise the importance of social connections, support systems for mental health and wellbeing. And this idea of community, you know, we feel kind of carries on quite naturally and beautifully into National Volunteering Week, which takes place a couple of weeks later from the 3rd to the 9th of June. So volunteering, you know, a well-known way of strengthening communities and fostering those relationships to help with both individuals and, you know, people's in the community's well-being, So there's a nice wee overlap there. So that's, you know, why I think, you know, community is quite an important topic to discuss.
Yeah, definitely. I think what we see a lot of the time in the job is that you don't know how much is going on in the community. I think I said that last time with Good Mind, but I think what we're going to try and plug on the social medias as well is, you know, different ways to get involved in your community and finding out what's actually going on as well. In previous episodes we've talked about, you know, different events that we're going to be at, and not only these events do we get to talk to, you know, other people to network with, but we're also talking to volunteers for, you know, 101 charities and good things that are going on in the community. And I think it is just sometimes about getting yourself out there, you know, popping into your local charity shop or your local charity base and just saying, I'm interested in volunteering or I'm interested in getting involved. So what have you got for us?
Yeah, I think it's been a recurring theme throughout the podcast, really, and giving back to the community. We work above the charity shop, so we can see every day firsthand the importance of community and volunteers who are willing to give up their time, you know, to give back and help where they can. So I just want to kind of touch on that aspect. Obviously, you know, Mental Health Awareness Week, we'll speak about that first and foremost, because I know we've got a space for volunteering towards the end. But obviously with Mental Health Awareness Week coming up, what do you make of, you know, being in 2025 and having that designated week, you know, still for something that we've discussed previously to be an everyday thing?
Yeah, I think obviously it's great for creating a conversation. You know, it ends up being everywhere for that week, but it is quite something that there's a dedicated week for something like we say that is an everyday issue. It's something that, you know, you and I deal with in our workplaces, but everyone knows a friend, family member who may be, you know, having anxiety, stress or whatever it may be. And to have to still raise awareness for it's okay to talk about things is sometimes still a bit shocking, but it's good to have a week where everyone knows that that's what's going on and where they can find information that they might take on for the rest of the year as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, you know, putting the spotlight on it first and foremost is important. It's something we've addressed through prior episodes, you know, trying to tackle that stigma, feel more comfortable talking about how we're feeling with other people. And yeah, I kind of totally agree. It's good to have that spotlight on it for things like this, and hopefully we can build on from it and it becomes a, not only for 1 week we look to focus on mental health and it becomes that sort of everyday conversation, but, you know, baby steps we'll take where we're at just now. So as we mentioned earlier, the theme for this year's Mental Health Awareness Week is community. Being part of a safe, positive community is important for our mental health and our well-being. having strong connections with other people and within supportive communities can help to combat those feelings of isolation and reminding us again that we're not alone.
Yeah, I think it's that sense of belonging. It encourages as well, like we were saying about, no matter where you're finding community, whether it be one of the groups happening or whether you're volunteering somewhere, that sense of belonging to, this community. I feel like I've absolutely butchered that word now. But it's such a lovely feeling that people get. It gives them a place of safety, somewhere that they know they can go and have a sense of belonging, have somewhere to chat, have somewhere to maybe ask for help. And, having that support in hard times. If you've not got maybe a personal community, connecting with the folk around you or, different places that you can receive support will benefit you as well. And overall, if you can get out in the community and do something yourself, a lot of the time it gives us that sense of purpose where we feel like we're doing something. And for example, you may not be ready to go and take on full-time work right now, which is completely understandable, but you might want to get out one day a week and start doing something within the community. That's something that's going to help you with things like your motivation and all the rest of it, but I'll try not to get into a whole session now.
So good. I'm not going to lie, I don't really know what to say. You've touched on pretty much every point there. Absolutely. It's such an integral part because when we're struggling with our mental health, we can maybe look to avoid, people, places. We can start to withdraw from things of interest, lacking that motivation and energy to factor those things back into a routine. And, the more we withdraw and we sit with our thoughts ourselves, we can start to feel really isolated when, as you've said, there's community groups as hubs. We went to the hub last week that we, spoke about on the podcast in terms of up at the Whitehill and Gilmore Church.
Me too. I was waiting for my chance to.
Stepped in your toes there. It's just so important to show it as like-minded people to yourselves, as people going through similar.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's that way of if we've maybe taken a few steps back from friends and family and all the rest of it, it's sometimes easier for us to go to one of these community cafes where we can, get a cup of coffee, just sit there, take it in, maybe pick up a leaflet from ourselves, something like that, then go home and then the next time maybe chat to someone and so on and so forth.
A lot more informal, isn't it?
That's it. It's basically, you're going to the cafe. That's all that you're doing. It's a lesser of a step than having to maybe reach out to a family member or a friend or whoever and say, I'm really sorry that I've taken a step back, but it's because of maybe that bit less daunting. So definitely if it's something that maybe you're listening to this and thinking, I want to do something like that, then these community spaces are going to be so beneficial for you.
Definitely. And I think we've spoke about Vaslan before. We spoke about them and we'll speak about them a bit towards the end as well in terms of the volunteering aspect and, finding some of those hubs around about you in the community, because if you are interested, there's definitely things out there, get speaking to people. Obviously, you've got ourselves as well at LAMH.
That info line bit, there's loads of stuff at not stepping your toes again, but there's the info line bit where you can come in and you can grab a leaflet. If there's something that you're struggling with, need a bit of information on or whatever, just jump on in, have a look at the leaflets and, take what you need and, you'll hopefully find something there for you. But again, using the Vaslan tools, even just Google sometimes of looking at what's around you, what's happening near me, can open up a whole world that you didn't know actually existed. Yeah,
and another one I know you've already plugged it is the social media aspect of things. So I think if you have a look on our social media, I know that there's going to be different ways that you can show your support through Mental Health Awareness Week. I think we're wearing green. I think that's...
Yeah, so the wearing it green is all to do with the colour for mental health awareness, which is green. We've asked, our staff to wear it green just so that we can, maybe get a few snaps. I can get them up on social media. And just again, it's kind of that breaking that stigma of, they're wearing green as part of mental health charity, I can go up and speak to them, I know that's, and so on and so forth. It's just a good wee way of, spreading awareness. But no, if you keep an eye on the social medias, this comes out before, keep an eye on it. If this is past, then go back and have a look, because hopefully we're going to be sharing some really good stuff, some hints and tips and helplines and all the rest of it. So if you haven't already, please follow us on LAMH, Instagram and Facebook.
As a personal thing, Alison, I've got a feeling that you've got a big part to play on that social media.
I just love the social media.
I know as well, again, if you go to Google, that's our way of showing our support for Mental Health Awareness Week. They've also got websites such as the Mental Health Foundation, who are just a wee Google search away, and they also list some of the suggestions as well and national resources to help celebrate that power of community during Mental Health Awareness Week.
If you want to find out more about the services available in your local community, get yourself over to the Whitehill and Gilmore Parish Church in Burnbank, Hamilton. It runs every first and third Friday of the month, so why not pop on over, have a cuppa, a blether, and a space to talk with one of the available community wellbeing services. We look forward to welcoming you then.
And we're back, and just to kind of follow on from that advert there, Friday the 20th of June is the next time myself and Lucy will be at the Whitehill and Gilmore Parish Church for the Spaces to Talk events. That runs from between 10:30 and 12:30, and yeah, as always, we look forward to seeing you there. Guest time now. Very excited about this guest. We've got our very own Diamonds in the Community. I have Alison here with me from the charity of Diamonds in the Community, who are based in North Lanarkshire, providing invaluable support and connections to anyone who needs it. How are you feeling about being on the podcast, Alison?
Yeah, I'm all right. It was a wee bit short notice, but I'm fine to chat, and especially about the charity, because it's easy to talk about them because they do so much. So it's not as if I'm scrambling about trying to find something good to say about them.
It comes as second nature.
Absolutely.
No, but I really appreciate you coming on. So yeah, are you able to kind of speak a bit about the Diamonds in the Community, the work that you do, and how you got to become involved with them?
Diamonds in the Community, the main people that are sort of behind Diamonds in the Community are really Dougie and Stephen. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of started as a response to COVID. So it was set up to help out families that were really in need during COVID times, and it just sort of grew and grew and grew, and there was more and more demand for it. So it kind of went from being an emergency response issue to then it being an ongoing support in the community. And it's really, if anything, it's just getting busier, which you can say is good, but in a way it's not, because it means that there's more need for it.
Demand.
So there's just so many pressures and cuts on statutory services. So with the result of that being that they're able to do less and pass more people over to us. But unfortunately, the funding doesn't come with it.
Yeah.
So the demand for what we're doing is huge.
Yeah, you'd like to help. You'd like to help kind of where you can, but your hands are almost kind of tied to an extent.
Yeah, and we don't want to be a big national charity because there's obviously a lot of things attached to that, a lot of costs, a lot of politics, a lot of dynamics. We really just want to continue within Airdrie and the surrounding villages, because it's not just about Airdrie. There's a lot of villages round about Airdrie that are even probably more isolated. Yeah. And then with cuts in public transport, and so it's just a snowball effect. Unfortunately, funding's just it's a constant challenge, but we're very fortunate that there's so many in the community recognise the good work that we do. Even just today we get a surprise £500 sent to us just with someone that wanted to recognise what we do, and that probably means more than the bigger ones that you're getting from the national organisations.
And you said that's so important, the roots of the Diamonds in the Community. You want to keep that in place.
Yeah. And a lot of our volunteers, which is really, we've got I think it's about 70 or 80 volunteers we've got at the moment, and volunteering's a huge issue for the majority of charities, but for us, we're very fortunate that it doesn't seem to be, which we're hoping is a good sign that they actually like us.
Keep coming back.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people, a lot of our volunteers were service users, so they were people that used our services and then saw the good that they could do, and we don't demand from our volunteers. They just give freely, and there's no set days, there's no set times. So people can do what they can do. And it's just amazing when you see people that have come along because they were really, really lonely and isolated and desperate, and how they get their confidence, and, they get to meet other people and they think, well, actually, I could have a wee go at that. Yeah. And they're taking some of our groups now, so that's really nice. That's really nice ones to see.
And that's so nice, because we were just speaking about how the theme of this podcast is community, but also we're talking a bit about volunteering as well, because they kind of go hand in hand with each other. And here you go, you got your charity who are pretty much ticking off both boxes there, and the importance of that for the people. Well,
as we've said, funding and things is a constant challenge. So we only have I'm part time, and Dougie and Stephen are full time. That's it. So the majority of our services are all run by volunteers who give up their time and a lot of time their money as well, to come along and help us. So we're massively grateful for that, because that helps us keep our costs down, which allows us to actually put more back into the services that we offer, rather than us getting bogged down with paying a lot of salaries and a lot of costs and things like that. So volunteers are basically the core of everything that we do. We wouldn't survive without them.
And you said that you're based primarily in Airdrie and the surrounding villages. Would that extend to most of North Lanarkshire or just kind of the villages around about Airdrie?
It's primarily the villages round about Airdrie. MD can come to us. Yeah. You know, so the like, say, tomorrow, for instance, off the top of my head, we do an art group on a Friday morning, which makes it sound very grand. But, you know, basically it's a load of people that gather around some tables, and we've got an amazing artist. Well, I've got a couple of them actually that lead the group, and they just do a different theme. So tomorrow will probably be something about VE Day, or it'll be, you know, and they'll do a wee lesson at the start of it. And we've had, you know, almost 50 people coming along to that on a Friday morning.
Are those in Airdrie?
Well, that's what I was going to say. The class is in Airdrie. It's an Airdrie Workman's Club, but MD can come. Yeah. So, you know, if you were hearing about it and you were from Hamilton or you were from Coatbridge, or we actually have quite a lot of people come along from Coatbridge and things like that, you know. So it's not that our services are they're open to anyone, even not just North Lanarkshire, they're open to anyone that wants to come along. We mainly operate out of Airdrie and the villages, again, all down to costs, and, you know, you don't want to then start expenses with travelling and things like that.
Biting off a bit more, much more than you can chew. No, absolutely. And so that's a good example of some of the workshops and some of the groups that you run. Anything else on top of that, as well as the art classes that you offer?
Well, we do loads. I mean, we've got something on every day of the week. So the art group is one that's very, very close to Dougie's heart. He absolutely loves the art group. The atmosphere in it's just fantastic, you know, and it's so nice to see people coming together. And we don't split people out, you know, so we don't have, you know, certain groups that sit in certain tables or certain areas. Everybody just mixes in and, you know, gets on with it. And I was there a couple of weeks ago just to help make tea. You know, one of the wee guys, Brian, who comes along with his support worker, and he was desperate to show us, and he got up and at the interval and he gave us a wee piece in his mouth organ and things like that, you know. So it's like things like that you're like, oh bless, you know, that's just like, and he was absolutely so chuffed with himself, you know. He got a standing ovation, so we'll be trying to make him sit down every week now. He'll be wanting to do it again. Aye, totally. But yeah, so that's one of the big groups. We've also just started doing boccia, so that's like seated bowling basically for anybody that doesn't know. Your very own, I think it's a world champion, or he won something at the Olympics from Hamilton actually. Wow. A chap that done it. So it's seated bowling for people obviously with physical disabilities, but you don't have to have physical disabilities. Quite a lot of the people that come along are just people that maybe struggle with mobility, or again that just enjoy it, you know. And you know,
interested in giving it a shot.
Yeah, but we have got, you know, people with autism, we've got people that, you know, have got physical disabilities, and we've just got people that like to come along on a Monday afternoon for a cup of tea and a wee game of bowls. Yeah. And that's proven really popular. So that's a really popular one. This morning we had our chit chat cafe, I think I mentioned, so they were doing a wee theme about VE Day today. We've got our memories group, so that's on once a month, and that's for people with dementia, and that's football memories. So they maybe get a football player from X amount of years ago, and they come along and they give a talk, and so that's really popular. We've got all the memorabilia going back years and things like that. Sorry, I keep banging that with my hands. I'm animated.
You've got people on there, keep your hands down.
So that's a kind of a touching what we do.
I think I've seen it on the website. The website covers all that data as well, and I know on social media are quite big at posting in terms of different things you're running each day to try and just spread the word.
Yeah, we just listen really to what people want. Yeah, you know, so if people like, say, the Natter and Chatter class, we're talking about they wanted seated yoga, so we've delivered seated yoga, so we've started doing that every week, and they've actually been able to do that outside the last couple of weeks, and Fantastic. It's been amazing. Started a new project. It's a meditation over medication, and that's for people maybe with addiction issues or people that just and that's all about, you know, the power of the mind and anxiety and depression and suicide, and you know, it's just a bit, you know, trying to help people get grounded and think about maybe doing things in a different way. So we really, if there's a demand for it and people need it, then we'll put it on. Yeah.
Brilliant. And a couple of things I noticed as well on the website was things like the Monklands baby and family clothing aid as well.
Yeah, that was kind of that, and Kit Aid was kind of our core things that we started with. So the baby and family unit is still a huge part of the charity. It is a referral thing from, you know, like social work, and the process is all on the website. But again, we wouldn't turn MD away. So if MD needs help, they contact us and we'll, you know, help them them out. But, you know, we do everything from packs for mums maybe going into hospital that before they have their baby. So, you know, your basics of what you need to start you off right up through, you know, so you get your nappies, you can get your bottles, you can get, you know, help with food and milk and all your clothing, all your different things. And we also do the clothing unit for basically all ages and all sizes. We're bursting at the seams. We really could be doing new premises because we're really overflowing, you know, with the demand of it. And we also do your household goods. So we kit out full houses for people. So
I think I've actually donated a chest of drawers to yourself one time as well. So I know how important that service is.
Well, we have to use storage units for that, which again is a cost, you know, so we have to use storage units. We managed to fundraise for a van. So we got our own van last year from the fundraising we did from Kiltwalk. So that's made a big help because it means now one of the volunteers was using his own car, kind of wee minivan thing up until then, which meant we were quite restricted in what furniture and things we could offer because it just depended what we could transport about. So we've got our van now. But as I say, we're having to pay rent for the storage units. So having our own big premises where we could do everything out the one area would be but it's just getting the right place and the right cost and everything. And your overheads you need to consider, you
always
know,
comes back to money, isn't
electricity and, you know, everything else. But so people maybe like arriving in the country, we do quite a lot with New Scots. So, you know, people that arrive and they've literally not got anything, or maybe people that are just out of prison. Yeah. Again, that get released and they've got nothing. Yeah. So we kit out full houses if that's what people need to get them started off. And again, massively appreciative. It's very humbling when, you know, you see how appreciative people are for what they get.
Absolutely. The importance of community, like we spoke about, and having people in there who care.
Yeah, it is, because these people are so isolated and they just think that nobody does care. There's no judgment. Doesn't matter where you come from, what your background is, you know, how society perceives you. If you need help, we'll help you.
Yeah. That's brilliant. It's just exactly like what community should be about. We've just been talking about that. It's just such a lovely thing to hear about that. I know I didn't know too much about yourselves until kind of the last few weeks, and it's unbelievable the stuff that you can do to support, you know, the people in your community.
Well, KitAid's another big thing that Dougie's really passionate about, and they've actually went out, you know, to different countries in Africa to see the children, and you know, so it's amazing how the world is a smaller place now, you know, so a lot of the local football teams, but also just the public again will donate football kits that, you know, are either outgrown or no longer needed, and we donate them to countries that, again, the kids have got absolutely nothing. And it's amazing, you know, it's like it's a bit of a shame sometimes, you know, when you've got a full team with a Motherwell strap on or something. You know, it's like, that's a sin. But it's weird, you know, when you think they've been lying in your corridor the week before, and then you get photographs through, and it's a full,
do
you know.
Do you get to go on any of the trips?
I haven't been personally, but the guys have, and the volunteers have, and we're looking to maybe go to South Africa next year, and that we pay for all that ourselves out our own pockets. That doesn't come from anything from funding. So we'll kind of need to start saving up.
The importance of the fundraising as well. You mentioned that you've done...
we don't fund. We wouldn't use that for our transport costs or anything like that. You know, that would be
purely for the services that you're offering to the community.
If we go out to see what it means to people and speak to them and get a better understanding of what's needed,
for yourselves.
We pay that. We pay that out our own pockets. That wouldn't come out of any fundraising or any donations or anything like that.
Towards the services and the groups and the clubs.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I don't even get travel expenses.
Sneak that one in there.
Certainly don't get to South Africa. I don't even get into Airdrie.
Right, don't get to get the figure out. So any kind of upcoming fundraisers that you're doing? I know you did the Kilt Walk last week, 2 weeks ago.
Just 2 weeks ago, and we'll do the Edinburgh one as well. That's one of our major fundraisers every year. But we also do quite a lot of social events, and they're really popular. So we've got another ABBA night coming out. It's always a sellout. I know, it's always a sellout.
2 tickets?
You can certainly get 2 tickets. It's really popular, and it's a brilliant night. So we've got that. We had Foo Fighters. We had, I think we've got a U2 tribute night coming up. So So yeah, and they're usually in Airdrie Workmen's Club, so they're really accessible for everybody, and it's also wheelchair accessible and everything, and it's on the ground floor, etc., etc. So it's that's quite a big factor for people as well. So yeah, we've got them coming up, which takes a lot of work. We make quite a lot of the fundraising from the tickets, but also from our raffles. So we're always looking for local organisations and things to donate prizes for us, so that we can sell raffle tickets on the night and wait until people got a couple of wee beers, and then they always buy plenty of raffle tickets. People are very supportive. They really are. They're amazing. So yeah, and obviously it's hard times for everybody just now.
A lot of uncertainty.
Cost of living, people losing their jobs, and so it's just amazing that folks still want to help people that are less fortunate than them. Yeah.
Absolutely. So what can people do to continue supporting Diamonds in the community? How can people find out more about the things that you're running?
Our website's pretty much got everything on it. It's got our contact information. It doesn't always have a phone number on it because we're never usually sitting at our desk to answer a phone. So it's usually there's a contact us button, and if we'll maybe not get back to you that day or that night. As I say, we're really small team, but we will get back to you. But if people want to hand in donations, they can bring them along to our office. They want to find out about how they can donate. We've got a QR code on our website, so they can scan that, they can donate that way, or they can come along to our fundraisers and our events and support us. And if they just want to come along to our events and join in, or even come along to our classes and join in, everybody's welcome. And they're a pay as you can. So if people can afford to pay, they'll pay. But there's no pressure on anybody to be able to pay, but we've got collection tins out, and most people, if they can, they'll put 50p in or a pound in or whatever they can do, just to cover the cost of the rolls and sausage and things like that, So yeah, if you can't afford to pay, it's not any problem. That's what the classes are aimed at. We would rather people come along. Nobody would know who's paid and who hasn't paid, and we would rather that than you sit in the house on your own and don't feel intimidated about it. Everybody's in the same situation. Everybody's had to walk through the door for the first time.
Yeah, that's normally the hardest thing, isn't it? Is getting that first step. And then when they get in, they start talking to people, it makes them want to come back.
And even if you're nervous about coming along, just drop us a wee line and one of us will come out the front and get you and bring you in, so that you don't have that worry about, walking in on your own. We'll come in and sneak you in so that nobody knows you're new.
The VIP access.
Yeah.
Wow, honestly, I just love listening to the work that you do. It never gets old. Before we finish up, I know upstairs you said you've got a big part to play in the community solutions side of things. You okay to explain a bit about that?
Absolutely. So we're locality hosts for Airdrie and the surrounding villages, and we manage a fund that is allocated. Different organisations can apply for it, and then the overarching organisation, VANL, Voluntary Action North Lanarkshire, they pick the different organisations to represent the town and the villages. So we get a funding pot every year. It's dropped quite considerably this year, unfortunately. So you can apply if you're a local group or a local organisation, as long as you're a registered charity, you can apply for funding of up to £3,000 if you're looking to maybe launch a new project, or you've got a new idea, you're needing some support to do something. And I oversee that. So if you're looking for any advice or you're looking for any, get pointed in the right direction, we don't make the decision on it. We just host it. So we're the locality hosts, and we've got a consortium. So, I'll help you. You'll contact me. I'll help you with your application, give you any hints and tips that I can, obviously having to remain completely unbiased. It's nothing to do with me, whether you get the fund or not. And then it'll go to the wider consortium. But the consortium is also a really, really good networking opportunity. So we've got people from all different sectors. We've got them from the NHS, North Lanarkshire Council, Health and Social Care, and also a lot of the local charity organisations. And we all meet every 6 weeks. So it's a really, really good way to find out what's going on in the community, and also to see if you're thinking of doing something, does somebody else do it? Have they tried it before?
Can they give you? Isn't it?
Yeah. And also it'll then help you if you've got an idea and you think either I don't think anybody's doing that, or I can see a gap and a need for something. Then we would encourage you to apply for the Local Activity Fund, it's called. And again, it's signposted on the website.
Okay.
And we'll then help you get the funding, and we just ask for pretty basic reporting so that we can see what impact it's had on the community and the difference it's made, and how we can then maybe advertise it and promote it, out to the wider groups.
Amazing.
So, yeah, we do that for Airdrie and the surrounding villages. It runs now for 4 years, which is quite good. It used to run year to year, which, a bit like funding, is then a challenge to plan anything, but it ran for 4 years. So it'll be up next year. So fingers crossed we get that again. So, but yeah, it's a really good group of people.
By the sounds of it as well, for only 3 full working members of staff.
Yeah,
it's a lot going on, but the importance of the volunteers. You said about 70 volunteers as well.
Yeah.
Is that something do you advertise for more volunteers? Wherever you can.
We have an advert on the Van Ale volunteer website, and we've had a few people from that. Right. But in general, it's word of mouth, which again is amazing. Because it means that people enjoy it, and they tell it that most people will say they'll just drop in. We're in Graham Street, not always easiest to find, but we're straight across from the health centre up the stairs. You can pop in and have a chat to us, and there's all different roles for people to play. You can just come in and help fold the clothes, you can come in and help count the money from the different clubs, or you can go along to the clubs and help out at, all the different events that we've got. We'll always find a job for anybody, and we've got people that come in a couple of hours a week. We've got people that come in 3 days a week, so there's no set in stone commitment. Because for volunteering, I know that can be a worry for people, that they maybe can't commit, and we're just grateful for any time that MD can give us.
It's all from word of mouth as well, just getting out there and speaking to people and learning about what's out there in the community, and you might just stumble across diamonds in the community.
Yeah, well, the more volunteers, the more people that come along through word of mouth means that we're doing something right.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds definitely like you're doing something right as well. I love listening to every minute of that. Any questions, Lucy, to follow up before we finish things off?
I think so. I think we've summed everything up very well.
Well, feel free.
Dougie's not going to get a look in now.
We'll be looking out for you at the ABBA night.
Oh, of course. I'll be performing. I'll be practicing.
They all get dressed up and everything, so there's no excuses.
Get the flares out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming on today, Alison, and jumping in at short notice. Really appreciate it, and keep up the great work you're doing.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Join us in part 3 to round up what we've spoke about so far in today's episode, with a bit more focus on the idea of volunteering. Don't go anywhere. Hi Grant, so I know you are volunteering currently in the LAMH charity shop. What does volunteering mean for you?
Volunteering means getting out and interacting with the public and getting valuable work experience.
And is that something that's important for you, is finding that experience?
I'd say mostly interacting with people and socialising is definitely a core part of my volunteering.
And how long have you been volunteering for?
About 6 to 7 years.
Brilliant.
From now.
Yeah, and that's something you're still enjoying?
Yes.
Brilliant. So I'm with Tom here, who is the assistant manager of the LAMH charity shop. But before you did this role, Tom, I believe you volunteered here.
Yes, I was a volunteer here for 3 years. Well, actually, I was a service user for 4 years, 2014 to 18. Then it was my support worker that got me interested in the shop. It took 4 years to get me interested in the shop. And when I got to that point, I was really ready for the shop.
Yeah, and how did you find that?
I liked the atmosphere in the shop. The minute I went into the shop, I know it sounds kind of cliche or whatever, the atmosphere was really good. And I don't usually go by atmospheres or anything like that, but the atmosphere in the shop was really good.
And you found that kind of helped settle you?
It did. And the camaraderie in the shop, it helped my confidence.
Yeah.
Because they were so friendly towards me. Yeah, I was 3 years, and then I got a chance for the assistant manager's job.
And that kind of shows the confidence that you...
Well, I was helped with the interview skills sort of thing.
And that was good, you were able to get the confidence from the volunteers to go into that position.
And of course, when I got the job, there was really no difference. The only difference was, at the end of the day, it was my responsibility for seeing that everything was going well in the shop and things like that. That was the only difference.
Yeah. And what advice would you give to anybody who's thinking of volunteering?
Well, the shop is great for confidence building. You cultivate friendships, and then you achieve retail skills at the end of that. In fact, just there's somebody that's going to be working. She volunteered. She was a volunteer, so she's working maybe next week or something. Yeah. So
you'd encourage kind of volunteering, whether it be here or anywhere. You think it's a good process?
It is. Well, especially at the LAMH shop. I just think camaraderie here is fantastic.
And we're back. That is honestly just so insightful. You know, a real perk of this position is inviting these guests on from different services, organisations. It's a lot better hearing from them. I think we'll all agree on that. That's a bit better than listening to me paraphrase what I'm reading online.
I think you do enough talking.
I felt something like that coming. That's plenty. But before we finish up, a big part of, you know, charities like Diamonds in the Community, you know, it was very apparent. It's, you know, the people who give up their time to help with the running of these different services and groups. And, you know, something that we see, we've spoke about it already in terms of working in our own LAMH charity shop. We obviously got to hear there and during the advertisement was really an advert, but hearing the compilations of the different volunteers that are involved in our charity shop and the importance of volunteering to them, and yeah, it's just invaluable. So I think that's it kind of goes hand in hand with that idea of community. And obviously we've had Mental Health Awareness Week in May and National Volunteering Week coming up from the 3rd to 9th of June as well. So, you know, it's really that great way to integrate yourself and contribute to that theme of community.
Yeah, definitely. I think we spoke at length, you know, the importance of volunteering in community and how it's all interlinked and all the rest of it. But it really is just kind of home in on that point of it is a brilliant thing to get involved with, and there's an example of somewhere that you can get involved today with Diamonds in the Community. But no, it's been great to actually talk about this, because we've been talking about this for a wee while now, about talking to the volunteers and why it's good, and I think it's good timing to come about Mental Health Week.
Yeah, we've finally got it covered. Yeah, so hopefully today that's given you a taste of, you know, the importance of community in supporting mental health, and there's a multitude of different ways you can get involved, you know, and get involved where you can, playing your part in creating that sense of belonging and community, something which in turn can help our own mental health as well as those around us. So remember, you know, to give 100% to others, you know, you've got to have 100% to give first and foremost. So look after yourselves, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the podcast.
Bye.